Man, it's hilarious. I have to shave like once a month, and the one day that I shave, I got like a crater in my face. Crazy.
All right, so this is GH2 Unfiltered, and I'm not going to be putting this up on YouTube for public consumption because, there are limits to things that I can say in public. Uh, there are a bunch of reasons that I have for, I've got regulations, et cetera, et cetera. I want to be giving financial advice, et cetera. And there's certain things that, I'm not at liberty to say. There are certain things that I don't want to be pulled out of context. Okay. That's not to say that I don't have opinions and fairly strong ones uh, about certain things. And you're here, you probably already know that one of the things that I've been saying, one of the steps has always been that health insurance is not healthcare. Health insurance is not healthcare. And the fact of the matter is that people make this mistake right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. Told you I hate video. It's like the computer lapsed. So people make mistakes right out of the gate by confusing the two. And so what do? You ask your pediatrician on what's the best health insurance for your infant child. Okay, so let's revisit the basics. I came from a medical household. Don't call me a hater. That's like impossible. I enjoyed food. Okay? So the fact of the matter is Dr. Expert at Grey's Anatomy, the book, it's the tired analogy that I've used multiple times. I am dealing with the Black-Scholes formula, which has to do with contingent financial payouts, and that depends on some knowledge about this formula that's showing up on your screen, which also has something to do with the random normal distribution, including all the extra statistics around the standard distribution, and also critiquing whether or not the standard normal distribution and the variance, standard deviation, volatility also apply in the situation. Okay? And if all of you are lost on that last few moments, it does go to show you that the fact of the matter is that when you're coming to me and asking for financial advice, some actual financial advice, I'm going through that process before coming up with a possible solution for you. That's kind of the way that I look, the lens. That's the lens that I'm looking through when I'm dealing with your particular situation. Okay. Then there's the whole thing about advertising, and that's the point of this clip. And we're going to get to it, I promise. Here we go. So up on my phone last night, literally last night, I didn't want to throw my phone because I value my phone and I have to read my texts and emails. But this is the kind of thing that scares the bejesus out of me. And because no one's making me the kingpin, no one's making me the regulation maker. Okay, no one is doing that. But this kind of thing is awful. So this is Oak Street Health. You may have seen it in your location. And this is an advertisement that showed up on my Facebook screen. And you can see it here, blah, 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 can answer your Medicare questions. We offer unbiased Medicare advice. Okay. Do you know what's not part of that clip? Number one, the Medicare plans pay Oak Street Health a commission if you sign up with them as the agent of record, as they do to me. Right? So you're on Medicare Advantage Plan X. I represent that plan in your location. So do they. Fine. X. You want to know what's different? Here's what's different. Oak Street Health could be receiving, I'm not saying for sure, but they they can qualify for sales incentives for enrolling persons into their plans using healthcare. Did you know this? Do you see this here on this? That's pretty scary, right? Because let's just say you're going to primary care physician at Oak Street Health, okay? And let's say you've got 5 different issues, okay? Oak Street Health, as a result of this compensation structure or possible compensation structure, is not unbiased. They're not. Okay? The incentive there is very strong to funnel persons into particular Medicare Advantage plans. That is entirely the case. It's entirely the case that they could say, look, our physical therapy area doesn't deal with a certain set of Medicare Advantage plans, and it does with other Medicare Advantage plans. Therefore, how are you possibly unbiased? Now, if you're going to tell me that for sure they're unbiased, or how would you know? Nowhere on this ad are they revealing this. So now, what can I do to fix this? You know, I could fix this real quick, right? Which is simply, they would have to state upfront that they are not receiving any compensation in any way from any carrier other than the commission from the Medicare Advantage or Part D plan. That would do it. And guess what? They will never sign that. Never. No way. Right? Because, and by not signing it, that means they're not unbiased. Okay, so how can this advertisement be correct? This one isn't correct. Now you understand why this has to stay not in public view, right? This is a pants on fire moment. There is no way that you're telling me that this advertisement is accurate. And worse, what it is doing, it is adding on top to the violation of my number one principle, which is health insurance is not healthcare. This is healthcare provider twisting the situation of the fact that people are wrongly equating these two things, which are not the same, and adding on top of it to say that they're unbiased when they have every financial incentive to guide into a subset of plans, which is the definition of bias. I have if you haven't already concluded so, you could understand that I have a pretty frustrating existence. And you want to know what? It's going to get worse. The reason I know it's going to get worse is because it's happened. It's happening today, and it's going to occur starting on January 1st, which is one of my clients, actually a married couple. Let's call them Mr. and Mrs. D. Okay. They're not the picture of good health. They're not. Pre-existing conditions, one which if you applied for Medigap, you would never pass underwriting. Neither one. Okay. Tobacco users plus medical conditions. So the fact of the matter is they got a letter, which was an advertisement. It's an advertisement from a particular Medicare Advantage plan, which happened to have the letterhead of the local hospital. And again, this is the similar, not as awful. No, let me say, not illegal. Let's just put it this way, okay? Not illegal, right? I'm not under the idea that someone's doing something blatantly illegal. But this person just changed and tells me after the fact, and that's their prerogative. Ultimately, it's the consumer's prerogative. Like I say, and I've used, many of you who have actually spoken to me in person, I run a 7-Eleven over here, right? You want Wrigley Spearmint, you get it. You need Big Red, you get it. Or I run a dress store. You want a pink polka dotted dress, I'm going to give it to you, even though you need a black pantsuit. Okay. But since what ends up happening is that some people wrongly assign this and then see the bullet points of $0 premium, right, without a full flush through of the implications of their decision making. Look at the other videos that I've sent about portfolio with lattices, which about, probability and, the path dependency, all of these other terms. These are just different exercises, right? These are just different variations on what I'm describing here. So these persons switch to a Medicare Advantage plan that, all else equal, I wouldn't have suggested, right? And if they try to make their way back to Medigap while there is a trial period, which I know about, which crazy people write books about, deep in the footnotes. So while there's a side door, that is not the path they chose. They're just going to switch to an HMO where there's no way to get back to Medigap after the trial period ends for them, which I wouldn't have suggested anyway, even to go to Medicare Advantage. But because of this kind of advertisement, this situation is going to get worse. In fact, it's already happened. Don't do what Mr. and Mrs. D did. Really, that's the last thing that you do is get a piece of mail, see an advertisement, call up the number, and switch on the phone. Unless you have like a background in Black-Scholes and understand, what is used to construct a Monte Carlo simulation. Sorry, the idea of doing this over the phone on a whimsical phone call, not great. That's it for this segment. We'll have more, I'm sure of that, coming up shortly. I always forget this. Be sure, if you do me a favor, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because when you do that and then you like videos and hit the notification button, there's a little bell in the lower corner there. What happens, for those who are not familiar with how YouTube works, there's an algorithm running there. They're analyzing who's watching, how many times you're watching, and showing it to other people like you. That's why, all these things magically show up in your, Google search results. Anyway, please do that because it helps grow the channel. The channel itself has information in here that I'm convinced doesn't exist. There's a reason. There are lots of reasons for that, meaning that, I'm not apologizing, not really, but, the fact of the matter is I'm trying to water down without taking out the guts of actual information that doesn't exist in other places, right? It is of no use to people to watch and gloss over my videos because they look and feel the same as someone who is prettier than me, has a nicer production than me, and stuff like that. That is not my marginal difference, or that's how I live with myself, thinking that that's not my marginal difference. Anyway, my point is that please do that. It does help support the channel, or type in comments, etc., about your experiences and the information that you've gotten from the video that doesn't exist in other places. Very important. And you can hear how hesitant I'm even in asking and recording this kind of stuff. I detest self-promotion. I'm awful at it. Awful. I can't even tell you, like this little video, this thing is going to take 4 hours to make. You have no idea how awful this thing. Anyway. All right. Thanks very much. I'll talk with you next time.